Captain Ellie Morgan stood frozen at the viewport of the USS Defiant. The stars looked the same as they always had, but everything else had changed. 6 months ago, she and her crew had left Earth on a deep space mission. Now they returned to find their home conquered by the Kraxan Empire. "Captain, we're still undetected," said Lieutenant Sam Wright from his station. His young face was pale under the blue glow of his screen. "The Kraxan ships aren't looking this far out." Ellie nodded, but said nothing. On the main screen, Earth looked peaceful from this distance. Too peaceful. The orbital defense platforms were gone. In their place floated the massive oval shapes of Kraxan control ships. The once busy space lanes were silent except for the enemy's traffic. Commander John Reeves stepped up beside her. "We need to make a decision, Captain. Fuel cells are at 28%. I know." Ellie's voice was quiet but firm. "Patch me through to all decks." John nodded to the communications officer. A small light turned green on Ellie's console. "This is Captain Morgan," she said. "As you can all see, we have returned to find Earth under Kraxan control. Our long-range scans confirm what we feared. The Earth Defense Fleet has been destroyed. We appear to be the last warship of Earth still operational." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "I know many of you have family down there. So do I. Every part of me wants to charge in, guns blazing. But that would only get us killed, and then there would be no one left to fight for Earth." Ellie looked around the bridge. 20 faces looked back at her with a mix of grief, shock, and determination. "We're not giving up," she continued, "but we need to be smart. The Defiant is just one ship. We can't beat the Kraxan Empire in a fair fight, so we won't fight fair." Dr. Patricia Cole spoke up from her science station. "Captain, I'm receiving Kraxan broadcasts. They're celebrating." "Put it on screen," ordered Ellie. The main display changed to show a Kraxan news program. The aliens were tall and thin with gray skin that seemed to shimmer. Their faces had no noses, just breathing slits, and their 3 eyes were arranged in a triangle pattern. The Kraxan reporters stood in what used to be the United Nations Plaza in New York. "The human world called Earth is now the newest jewel in the Emperor's collection," the reporter was saying. "After 6 months of resistance, the humans have accepted their place in our empire. Their culture and knowledge will strengthen us, as all conquered species do." The screen showed humans walking around, going about their business, but with Kraxan soldiers watching from every corner. People kept their heads down. No one smiled. "Turn it off," Ellie said. She felt sick. Chief Warren Bell, the head of security, slammed his fist on the wall. "So that's it? Everyone just gave up?" "They fought for 6 months, Chief," John said gently, "against an empire that controls half the galaxy. What would you have done?" Warren didn't answer. His shoulders slumped. "We have new orders," Ellie announced. "Self-assigned. We're going to find a way to free Earth. Not today, maybe not this year, but we will find a way." She turned to her navigation officer. "Plot a course to the Horsehead Nebula. There's an old mining outpost there where we can hide and make repairs." "Yes, Captain," the officer replied. "Dr. Cole, Lieutenant Wright, I want you two to go through all the data we collected on our mission. The Kraxan technology, their battle tactics, everything. Find me a weakness." Patricia and Sam nodded. The two of them had become the ship's unofficial research team. Patricia was the theoretical genius, Sam the practical problem solver. Together they had already developed several improvements to the Defiant's systems. As the crew went to work, John followed Ellie into her ready room. "Permission to speak freely, Captain?" "Always, John." "The crew needs hope. Real hope, not just words. They've just lost everything." Ellie sank into her chair. "I know, but I can't manufacture hope out of nothing." "Then find something," John insisted. "Anything from our reconnaissance data that might give us an edge." Ellie turned to her computer and pulled up the files from their 6-month mission. They had been sent to gather intelligence on the Kraxan, studying their outposts from a safe distance. No one had expected the aliens to move against Earth so quickly. "Wait," she said, opening a particular file. Remember that battle we observed at the edge of Craxon space? The one against the Peldari ships? John nodded. The Peldari lost. Badly. Yes, but there was something odd about it. The Craxon ships moved in perfect coordination, like they knew exactly what each other would do. They have good training, John suggested. No, it was more than that. It was like they were all parts of a single organism. Ellie's eyes lit up. What if they're linked somehow? A hive mind or some kind of network? She pressed the comm button. Lieutenant Wright, please come to my ready room. Bring Dr. Cole. A few minutes later, Sam and Patricia arrived. Ellie explained her theory. It's possible, Patricia said thoughtfully. There have been rumors about the Craxon having some form of telepathic ability. Sam was already checking the sensor data on his tablet. Look at these energy readings from their ships. There's a subspace field connecting them all. I thought it was just communications, but what if it's more? Could we disrupt it? Ellie asked. Maybe, Sam said, but we'd need to understand it better first. And we'd need to get much closer to their ships, Patricia added. Warren's voice came over the intercom. Captain to the bridge. We have company. Ellie rushed back to the bridge with the others. On the screen, a Craxon patrol ship was changing course, heading in their direction. Have they spotted us? Ellie asked. I don't think so, said the sensor officer. They're running a standard search pattern, but they'll be in visual range in 10 minutes. Options? John studied the tactical display. We could try to outrun them, but that would give us away for sure. There's a gas giant in the next system, Sam suggested. If we power down and drift into its radiation belt, their sensors might not pick us up. Do it, Ellie ordered. Minimal power, silent running. The Defiant changed course, moving slowly toward the massive planet. The crew worked in tense silence as the Craxon ship drew closer. They're scanning the area, the sensor officer reported. Hold position, Ellie said calmly, though her heart was racing. Minutes passed. The Craxon ship moved through the system, its powerful sensors sweeping across space. They're moving away, the officer finally said. I think we're clear. A collective sigh of relief swept through the bridge. Resume course to the nebula, half speed, Ellie ordered. And good work, everyone. As the Defiant slipped away into the darkness, Ellie returned to her ready room. On her desk was a photo of her family back on Earth. Her parents, her sister, her nephew. She touched the image gently. We'll find a way, she whispered. One ship against an empire. Somehow, we'll find a way. 2 weeks passed inside the purple clouds of the Horsehead Nebula. The USS Defiant floated hidden among swirls of cosmic dust and gas. The crew had turned an abandoned mining station into their secret base. They worked day and night, studying the information they had gathered about the Craxon Empire. Lieutenant Sam Wright hadn't slept much. His eyes were red as he stared at streams of data on his screen. Next to him, Dr. Patricia Cole sipped her third cup of coffee. They sat in what used to be the station's control room, now converted into a research lab. I see it again, Sam said, suddenly pointing at his screen. That pattern in the Craxon communications? Patricia leaned closer. What pattern? It's like a rhythm, something beneath their normal signals. No one else has ever noticed it before. Sam rubbed his tired eyes. I thought I was imagining it at first. Show me, Patricia said. Sam pulled up the data files. He played a recording of Craxon ship signals, then adjusted the settings to filter out the main communication bands. A faint but regular pulse remained. There, he said. You hear that? Patricia listened carefully. Interesting. It's almost like a heartbeat. Now watch this. Sam switched to a visual display. The pulse appeared as small waves on the screen. This is present in all Craxon communications. It connects their ships, their bases, everything. Captain Ellie Morgan walked in just then. Any progress? She asked. Sam showed her what they had found. Ellie studied the display, her brow furrowed in concentration. Could this be the network you theorized about? The one that lets their ships coordinate so perfectly? I think so, Sam said. But there's something else. He hesitated. I can feel it. Ellie and Patricia looked at him strangely. What do you mean you can feel it? Patricia asked. Sam struggled to explain. When I listen to these signals long enough, I start to sense patterns. It's like seeing shapes in static. At first I thought I was just tired, but now I'm sure. There's information here that our instruments aren't detecting. That's impossible, Patricia said. Test me, Sam challenged. He turned off his screen. Play any cracks in recording. Don't tell me which one. Patricia looked at Ellie, who nodded. Patricia selected a random file and played it through the speakers. The sound was just noise to her and Ellie, but Sam closed his eyes and listened. This is from the battle at Proxima Centauri, he said after a moment. Third day of the Earth siege. The Kraxen are coordinating an attack on the Lunar Defense Station. Patricia checked the file label. Her eyes widened. He's right. Ellie leaned forward. How are you doing this, Lieutenant? I don't know, Sam admitted. But I've been working with these signals for days now. I started sensing patterns. It's like learning a language by immersion. Patricia's scientific mind raced with possibilities. What if humans have a neurological ability the Kraxen don't know about? Maybe we can perceive quantum fluctuations they use for their network. If that's true, Ellie said slowly, we might have found our advantage. Over the next few days, they tested Sam's ability. He could consistently identify Kraxen tactical movements just by listening to their communications. Even more impressive, he could predict their patrol patterns with surprising accuracy. Patricia ran brain scans on Sam, then on other crew members. Many showed similar responses to the Kraxen signals, though none as strong as Sam's. It seemed to be a human trait, previously undiscovered because no one had known to look for it. So we can sense their network, Commander John Reeves said during a briefing in the station's meeting room. How does that help us defeat an empire? Patricia projected a diagram onto the wall screen. If we can sense it, we might be able to disrupt it. I'm proposing we build a device that generates a countersignal. It would be harmless to humans but would interfere with the Kraxen network. Like static on a radio? Chief Warren Bell asked. Exactly, Patricia nodded. It would break their perfect coordination. Their greatest strength would become their greatest weakness. What do we need to build this device? Ellie asked. Sam pulled up a list on the screen. Some materials we already have, others. He pointed to several items. These rare minerals are only found in Kraxen mining outposts. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. We'd have to raid a Kraxen facility, John said finally. Ellie studied the map showing known Kraxen locations. There's a small mining outpost in the Tau Ceti system, minimal security from what our scans showed. It's still risky, Warren warned. If they catch us, they'll know humans are still fighting back. We don't have a choice, Ellie said firmly. Unless someone has a better idea? No one did. 3 days later, the Defiant approached Tau Ceti. The ship moved silently, its engines barely running to avoid detection. Through the viewport, they could see the mining outpost, a collection of structures built into a large asteroid. Only one patrol ship, John reported from Tactical. Standard defenses, nothing we can't handle. Ellie nodded. Launch the shuttle, small team only. John led the away mission. With him were Sam, to identify the materials they needed, and 3 security officers. They wore stolen Kraxen worker suits found in the abandoned mining station. Remember, John told them as their shuttle approached the outpost's landing bay. We're maintenance workers from the central systems. Act natural, get what we need, and get out. The shuttle landed without incident. The team split up, with Sam and John heading to the mineral processing center, while the security officers created a distraction in another area. There, Sam whispered, pointing to containers of blue-green crystals. That's what we need. They quickly loaded the crystals into their tool bags. Everything was going according to plan until an alarm suddenly blared throughout the facility. That's not our distraction, John said, reaching for his concealed weapon. A voice came over John's communicator. It was one of the security officers. "Commander, we've been made. They know we're—" The transmission cut off. "Back to the shuttle," John ordered. They ran through the corridors, avoiding Kraxan workers who were rushing to respond to the alarm. At an intersection, they ran into a group of Kraxan guards. A firefight erupted. Sam took cover behind a support column while John fired back at the guards. "Go!" John shouted to Sam. "Get those crystals back to the ship." "Not without you," Sam argued. A blast hit near John's position, showering him with sparks. "That's an order, Lieutenant. The mission comes first." Sam hesitated, then nodded grimly. He made a run for it while John provided cover fire. The last Sam saw of the commander, he was holding off 6 Kraxan guards, buying time for Sam's escape. Sam made it back to the shuttle where the other 2 security officers waited. The third had been captured. They launched immediately, racing back toward where the Defiant waited at the edge of the system. "Where's Commander Reeves?" Ellie asked when Sam returned alone. "He stayed behind," Sam said, his voice breaking. "He made me leave. Said the mission came first." Ellie's face showed no emotion, but her hands gripped the edge of her command chair tightly. "Did you get the materials?" Sam held up the bag of crystals. "Yes, Captain." Then his sacrifice wasn't in vain. Ellie turned to the helm officer. "Get us out of here, maximum speed." As the Defiant jumped to faster-than-light travel, Ellie stood alone at the viewport. She had lost her second-in-command, her friend. But they now had a chance, a small one, to strike back at the Empire that had taken everything from them. Back at their hidden base in the Horsehead Nebula, the mood aboard the Defiant was somber. The crew mourned Commander John Reeves. Captain Ellie Morgan had promoted Lieutenant Sam Wright to acting commander, though Sam felt uncomfortable taking John's place. In the makeshift lab, Sam and Dr. Patricia Cole worked on building the disruptor device. The blue-green crystals they had stolen from the Kraxan mining outpost glowed softly under the lab lights. "These crystals amplify quantum signals," Patricia explained as she carefully placed one in the device they were building. "With the right frequency, we can create interference in the Kraxan network." Sam nodded, adjusting some wiring. "I can tune it to match what I sense in their communications." They worked in silence for a while. Finally, Patricia spoke what was on both their minds. "Do you think John is still alive?" Sam's hands paused. "I don't know. The Kraxan don't usually kill prisoners. They like to study other species. If he's alive, he's probably being interrogated," Patricia said quietly. Sam didn't reply. He knew what that meant. The Kraxan were known for their thorough questioning methods. Meanwhile, in another part of the station, Captain Morgan was meeting with unexpected visitors. 3 aliens stood before her, their skin a deep blue color and their 4 eyes blinking in different patterns. They were Veldari, a species conquered by the Kraxan decades ago. "We heard rumors," said the tallest Veldari in slightly broken English. "Rumors of humans still fighting. We had to see for ourselves." "How did you find us?" Ellie asked cautiously. "We follow Kraxan patrols. We notice one ship not return from Tau Ceti. We investigate and find traces of your engine signature." Ellie's hand moved slowly toward her sidearm. "If you could track us, so can the Kraxan." The Veldari raised all 4 hands in a peaceful gesture. "No, we have special methods. Kraxan not know we here, not know you here." "What do you want?" Ellie asked. "To join, to help." The Veldari's inner eyelids blinked rapidly. "Many species hate Kraxan rule. Many watch humans fight for 6 months. Most impressive resistance in generations." Ellie was surprised. "We lost." "But you fought?" The Veldari made a strange sound that might have been a laugh. "Most species surrender in days, not months. Kraxan respect humans now. Keep Earth intact. Not destroy like other worlds." This was news to Ellie. "They've destroyed entire planets. Early days of Empire, yes, now they collect, preserve, but still control." Ellie considered this information. "You said there are others who resist?" "Small groups, hiding, waiting." The Veldari touched a symbol on his chest. We are network. We help each other. Now we help you. Just then, Sam entered the room. He stopped short when he saw the visitors. It's all right, Commander, Ellie said. They're friendlies, apparently. Sam approached cautiously. The Veldari studied him with interest. This one has the sight, the Veldari said suddenly, pointing at Sam. Sam exchanged a glance with Ellie. What do you mean? You see the waves, the cracks in mind web. The Veldari made a flowing gesture with his hands. Very rare gift. How did you know that? Sam asked. We feel it. In you. The Veldari stepped closer. Human special. Different. Your mind unseparate but connected. Cracks and minds all one big web. Humans. Individual stars. Patricia had entered behind Sam and heard this exchange. That's fascinating, she said. Are you saying that the Kraxan actually share a hive mind? Not exactly, the Veldari explained. They born separate, but they create technology to connect, to share thoughts. Over centuries they evolve. Now connection is part of them. Without it, they lost. Confused. Sam's eyes widened. That's why their ships move in such perfect formation. Yes. One mind controlling many ships. Ellie stepped forward. And you think we can disrupt this connection? If human with sight helps, yes. Possible. Ellie turned to Sam and Patricia. How's the disruptor coming? We've made progress, Patricia replied. But we've hit a problem. The device works in theory, but it has limited range. We'd need to be in the heart of a Kraxan fleet to affect more than a few ships. Or at center of empire, the Veldari suggested. At palace, where emperor connects to all. Ellie frowned. The Kraxan homeworld? That's suicide. Maybe not, Sam said thoughtfully. If their network is as important as our new friends suggest, then disrupting it at the source could affect their entire empire. Still suicide, Ellie insisted. We're one ship against thousands. The Veldari made that strange laughing sound again. Not alone. Network helps. Over the next few days, more resistance members arrived at the hidden base. Species that had been conquered by the Kraxan years or even decades ago. They brought information, supplies, and most importantly, hope. Patricia and Sam worked with some of the aliens who had technical knowledge. The disruptor device grew more sophisticated. In tests, it successfully blocked the Kraxan signals that Sam could sense. But there was still the question of how to get close enough to use it. Ellie called a meeting with the senior crew and representatives from the Resistance Network. We need a plan, she said. The disruptor works, but we need to get it to the Kraxan homeworld. Impossible to sneak in, said a reptilian alien named Kurds. Defense is too strong. What if we don't sneak? Sam suggested. Everyone looked at him. What if we surrender? The room erupted in protests. Ellie raised her hand for silence. Explain, she said to Sam. The Kraxan collect things, right? Species, technology, knowledge. The Defiant is the last human warship. Wouldn't they want it? Patricia caught on. They wouldn't destroy us, they'd want to study the ship. And the crew, Sam added. We know they're particularly interested in humans because of our resistance. A small, insect-like alien clicked its mandibles excitedly. Yes, Kraxan always bring important captures to homeworld. To show Emperor, Ellie considered the idea. So we surrender, let them take us to their homeworld, then activate the disruptor at the source. And what about Commander Reeves? Chief Warren Bell asked. If he's alive, he's probably on the homeworld too. Two birds, one stone, Ellie nodded. We free John and deploy the disruptor. There's something else you should know about the Emperor, Kurt said. He has enhanced neural implants. He is more connected to the network than any other Kraxan. What does that mean for our plan? Ellie asked. Patricia answered before Kurtz could. It means the Emperor will be particularly vulnerable to the disruptor. It could kill him. A heavy silence fell over the room. Is that what we want? Ellie asked. To assassinate their leader? Sam looked troubled. Our goal was to free Earth. not start an assassination campaign. If Emperor dies, the Veldari said, Empire falls to chaos, much fighting, many deaths. Ellie stood up. Then we need to find a way to use the disruptor without killing the Emperor. We want to free Earth, not destroy the Kraxen. I can modify the device, Patricia offered. Make it less harmful, but still disruptive. Do it, Ellie ordered. And everyone else, prepare for surrender. But remember, it's a fake surrender. We're not giving up. We're just changing tactics. As the meeting broke up, Sam stayed behind with Ellie. Captain, are you sure about this? There are a lot of ways this could go wrong. Ellie looked at the star map showing the Kraxen homeworld. Small dot representing the heart of the empire that had conquered half the galaxy. Of course I'm not sure, she admitted. But what choice do we have? We're just one ship. Sometimes the only way to win is to do something completely unexpected. Sam nodded. John would have liked this plan. It's just crazy enough to work. Yes, Ellie said softly. He would have. She squared her shoulders. Now let's go save him and free Earth while we're at it. The USS Defiant drifted in space, all weapons powered down. On the bridge, Captain Ellie Morgan watched the approaching Kraxen warships on the main screen. There were 5 of them, their oval shapes gleaming in the starlight. They're hailing us, said the communications officer. Ellie took a deep breath. On screen, a Kraxen commander appeared on the display. His gray skin shimmered and all 3 of his eyes focused on Ellie. Human vessel, he said in perfect English. You are the ship that raided our mining outpost. You will surrender immediately. Ellie stood tall. This is Captain Ellie Morgan of the USS Defiant. We surrender. Our ship is yours. The Kraxen commander seemed surprised by her quick compliance. His breathing slits flared. Wise decision, Captain. Prepare to be boarded. As the screen went dark, Sam leaned close to Ellie. Do you think they suspect anything? No, Ellie said, quietly. The Kraxen are arrogant. They won't question why we gave up so easily. The crew had prepared well for this moment. The disruptor device was hidden inside a standard power relay, where Kraxen scanners wouldn't detect it. Patricia had modified it to deliver a non-lethal pulse. The resistance members had left the ship days earlier, taking smaller vessels to spread word among their networks. A squad of Kraxen soldiers boarded the Defiant. They marched the crew to the cargo bay and searched them for weapons. Ellie noted how the soldiers moved in perfect unison, their steps matching exactly. More evidence of their connected minds. What an interesting specimen, said a new Kraxen who entered the cargo bay. This one wore elaborate robes instead of armor. A scientist, Ellie guessed. The last human warship. The Emperor will be pleased. The Kraxen turned his attention to the crew. You will be taken to our homeworld for study. Your resistance was most interesting to us, so different from other species. What will happen to my crew? Ellie asked. They will not be harmed, the Kraxen promised. We do not destroy valuable knowledge. Humans will join our collection, like all conquered species. The Defiant was towed inside a massive Kraxen transport ship. Through small windows, the crew watched stars streak by as they traveled faster than light toward the heart of the Kraxen Empire. 3 days later, they arrived at the Kraxen homeworld. From orbit, it looked like a giant city covering an entire planet. Ellie, Sam, Patricia, and Chief Warren Bell were separated from the rest of the crew and taken to a shuttle. Where are you taking us? Warren demanded. To the Imperial Palace, replied their Kraxen guard. High-ranking prisoners are presented to the Emperor directly. This was exactly what they had hoped for. Sam and Patricia exchanged quick glances. Ellie remained calm, though her heart beat faster. Their plan was working. The shuttle descended toward an enormous building at the center of the global city. The Imperial Palace was a towering structure of crystal and metal that reflected the light of the system's sun. Inside, they were led through grand hallways filled with artifacts from hundreds of conquered worlds. Ellie spotted items she recognized from Earth. Works of art, technology, even simple things like bicycles and musical instruments. The Kraxen truly were collectors. They were brought to a large chamber and left under guard. Through a window, they could see a celebration taking place in a massive courtyard below. Thousands of Kraxen were gathering. "It's a parade," Patricia whispered after studying the scene, "celebrating their victory over Earth." Warren clenched his fists. "When do we strike?" "Not yet," Ellie cautioned. "We need to wait for the right moment, and we need to find John first." "If he's still alive," Warren said grimly. A door opened, and a group of Kraxen entered. Among them was a human figure. John Reeves looked thinner than when they had last seen him. There were dark circles under his eyes, but he was alive. "John!" Ellie couldn't help calling out. John's head snapped up. For a moment, his tired face showed no emotion. Then his eyes widened in recognition. "Captain," he said in disbelief. Why are you here?" Before she could answer, the Kraxen guard separated them. "No communication between prisoners," one ordered. They were all led to yet another chamber, larger and more ornate than the previous one. At its center stood a raised platform with a magnificent throne. Seated upon it was a Kraxen larger than any they had seen before. His skin had a golden tint and metal implants were visible at his temples. "The Emperor," Sam whispered. The Emperor studied them with his 3 eyes. When he spoke, his voice resonated throughout the chamber. "The human leaders," he said. "I have learned much about your species from this one." He gestured to John. "Your resistance was impressive if futile. You will now join our collection." "What exactly does that mean?" Ellie asked boldly. "Your world will be preserved. Your people will continue their lives under our guidance. Their knowledge and culture will strengthen the Empire as all species do." "And if we refuse your guidance?" Ellie challenged. The Emperor made a gesture that might have been a smile. "None refuse for long. It is the natural order of things. The strong lead, the weak follow." While the Emperor spoke, Sam was scanning the room. He could sense the network more strongly here than anywhere before. It pulsed around the Emperor like an invisible web. Sam nudged Patricia and whispered, "The relay points for the network are in the walls. See the glowing panels?" Patricia nodded slightly. They needed to get the disruptor device close to one of those panels. The Emperor continued addressing them. "You will attend today's victory celebration. The last human warship and its captain will be displayed to show the completion of Earth's integration into our empire." Guards led them toward the courtyard where the parade was forming. This was their chance. In the confusion of the crowds, they could activate their plan. Using hand signals they had practiced, Ellie communicated to her team. Sam and Patricia would place the disruptor. Warren and Ellie would create a distraction. John, who understood what was happening with remarkable quickness, would help from his position. As they entered the courtyard, thousands of Kraxen turned to look at them. The Emperor appeared on a balcony above, his golden skin gleaming in the sunlight. Ellie gave the signal. Warren stumbled suddenly, knocking into a guard. In the brief confusion, Sam slipped the small disruptor device from his sleeve and passed it to Patricia. She moved toward one of the relay panels they had identified. Guard noticed Patricia's movement and reached for her. John stepped in the way, accidentally blocking the guard's path. Patricia reached the panel and pressed the disruptor against it. She activated the device with a quick twist of its base. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a pulse of energy, invisible to the eye but felt by Sam, spread outward from the device. It rippled through the courtyard up to the balcony, and presumably beyond. The effect was immediate. The perfectly coordinated Kraxen guards suddenly stopped moving in unison. Some stumbled. Others looked around in confusion. On the balcony, the Emperor clutched his head and fell to his knees. "It's working," Sam whispered excitedly. "Their network is disrupted." All around them, Kraxen soldiers and citizens were disoriented, their movements becoming uncoordinated and clumsy. For a species that had relied on their shared consciousness, for centuries the sudden isolation was crippling. Ellie looked up at the Emperor, who was being helped by his attendants. She hadn't wanted to kill him, just break his empire's hold on Earth. Patricia's modifications had worked. The disruptor was non-lethal. "Now what, Captain?" John asked. making his way to Ellie's side. "Now," Ellie said, "we negotiate from a position of strength." Chaos filled the courtyard of the Imperial Palace. Cracks and soldiers stumbled about like they were drunk. Some sat down suddenly, holding their heads in their hands. Others called out to each other in confusion. Captain Ellie Morgan looked at her crew, Sam, Patricia, Warren, and the newly reunited John. Now was their moment. "Follow me," she ordered. They moved quickly through the confused crowds toward the palace entrance. "The disruptor won't last forever," Patricia warned. "I designed it to fade after about 30 minutes. "Then we need to move fast," Ellie said. They rushed back into the palace. With the cracks and guards disoriented, no one tried to stop them. They made their way to a control room they had passed earlier. Sam sat at a console and began working. "I can access their communications system from here," he said, his fingers moving across the alien controls with surprising skill. "The network. Disruption has disabled their security protocols." "Can you send a message to Earth?" John asked. "Better than that." Sam smiled as the screen in front of him came to life. "I can broadcast to the entire Empire." Meanwhile, on the balcony above the courtyard, the Emperor was recovering. The initial shock of the disruption had passed, though he still felt strangely alone in his mind for the first time in his life. His personal guards helped him to his feet. "What has happened?" he demanded. "Why can I not feel the network?" His chief scientist bowed low. "It appears to be some kind of disruption, Your Majesty. The humans have deployed a device that interferes with our neural connections." "Impossible," the Emperor raged. "No species has ever been able to affect the network. The humans are different," the scientist said cautiously. "We have observed unusual brain patterns in their captive commander. Perhaps they have abilities we do not understand." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Find them. Now." In the control room, Sam had set up the broadcast. "Ready, Captain." Ellie nodded and stepped in front of the camera. The screen showed her face being transmitted to ships, planets, and outposts across the Kraxan Empire. "This is Captain Ellie Morgan of Earth," she began. "To the Kraxan Empire and all worlds under its control. What you are experiencing is proof that the Empire is not invincible. The network that binds your ships and soldiers can be disrupted." She paused, choosing her next words carefully. "We could have used this technology to destroy you. Instead, we offer a choice. End the conquests. Free the worlds you have taken. Become partners instead of masters." In the courtyard below, the Emperor watched Ellie's broadcast on the large screens meant for the victory celebration. His 3 eyes blinked rapidly in anger. "She threatens us," he hissed. "In our own palace." "Actually, sir," his scientist said hesitantly, "I believe she is offering peace." The Emperor turned to order his guards to find the humans, but he stopped. Something had changed inside him. For centuries, his mind had been connected to millions of his people. He had never known true individuality. Now, in the silence of his own thoughts, he felt something new, something strange. Freedom. He could think his own thoughts without sharing them. He could question without the immediate weight of tradition and collective opinion. It was terrifying and exhilarating at once. Back in the control room, Ellie continued her broadcast. "To all conquered worlds, the time for resistance is now. The Kraxan are vulnerable, but we do not call for violence. We call for a new beginning, a galaxy where all species live as equals." Suddenly, the door to the control room slid open. The Emperor himself stood there, flanked by guards who seemed unsure what to do without their networked commands. Ellie's crew tensed, ready to fight, but the Emperor raised his hand. "Enough," he said. "I would speak with the human captain, alone." After a moment of hesitation, Ellie nodded to her crew. "It's all right. Keep broadcasting." She stepped toward the Emperor. They moved to a small chamber nearby. The Emperor sat heavily on a bench, looking strangely vulnerable without his throne. "What have you done to me?" he asked quietly. "Freed you," Ellie replied. "From the network that both connected and controlled you." The Emperor's breathing slits flared. For 10,000 years, the Kraxan have been one mind with many bodies. You have shattered that unity. Sometimes unity becomes a prison, Ellie said. Each of your people deserves the chance to think for themselves, as do the species you've conquered. The Emperor was silent for a long moment. The network will reassert itself when your device fails. Yes, Ellie admitted, but we can build more. We can give them to other worlds. The age of the Kraxan Empire as you've known it is over, but something better can take its place. Outside in the control room, Patricia checked her timer. 5 more minutes until the disruptor wears off. Sam and John exchanged worried glances. Warren stood by the door, ready to fight if needed. Should we go after her? John asked. Not yet, Sam said. The captain knows what she's doing. Inside the chamber, the Emperor stood up suddenly. Your ship, the Defiant. It was all a ploy to get to the homeworld. Yes, Ellie said. One ship against an empire. But we had something you didn't expect. The ability to sense our network, the Emperor finished. Truly, humans are remarkable. A subtle change came over the Emperor. His posture straightened, his eyes became more focused. The network was beginning to reconnect. Ellie noticed the change. Your choice is now, Emperor. Before the network fully returns, will you lead your people to a new age of cooperation? Or will we be forced to share our technology with every world you've conquered? The Emperor faced a decision unlike any in Kraxan history. For the first time, it was truly his choice alone, not influenced by the collective consciousness of his species. If I agree, he said slowly, what are your terms? Freedom for Earth, autonomy for all conquered worlds. The Kraxan Empire becomes the Galactic Federation, with all members having equal voice. The Emperor's eyes blinked in sequence, a Kraxan gesture of deep thought. It would mean the end of everything we have been. And the beginning of something greater, Ellie countered. As the disruptor's effect faded, the Emperor felt the familiar touch of the network returning to his mind. But now it felt different, constraining rather than comforting. He made his decision before the full connection could influence him. I agree to your terms, Captain Morgan. 1 month later, the USS Defiant orbited Earth. From the viewport in her ready room, Ellie could see the Kraxan ships departing, not as conquerors but as allies withdrawing their occupation forces. The door chimed, and John Reeves entered. The last Kraxan ship has left the solar system, Captain. Good, Ellie said. And the Federation talks? Proceeding well. 53 formerly conquered worlds have sent representatives. The Emperor himself is leading the Kraxan delegation. Ellie smiled. Not bad for one ship against an empire. Not just any ship, John said with pride. The Defiant. On the bridge, Sam and Patricia worked together at the science station. Their hands touched briefly, and they smiled at each other. What had begun as professional respect had grown into something more during their shared mission. Warren entered, the bridge with news. Captain, we've received new orders from Earth Command. They want the Defiant to serve as Earth's diplomatic vessel for the Federation negotiations. Ellie looked around at her crew, the people who had somehow managed to turn the tide against a galactic empire. I can't think of a better mission. Set course for the Federation meeting point. Let's go make history again. The Defiant turned, gracefully and accelerated into the stars, no longer a warship on the run, but a symbol of hope for a new galactic order.